call this meeting to order. If we could quickly stand for an invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Mark, if you want to lead us on an invocation, please.
Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for another day in Los Fresnos. We thank you for all Los Fresnos means to each one of us. Ask your blessings on our community. Ask your blessings on those making decisions tonight. And we ask your guidance and throughout everything that is done in Los Fresnos. Continue to bless us in Jesus' name. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time we have 3 visitors' remarks. I'm going to go ahead and call the first person up. If I can have Lupita Garcia, would like to come up. Thanks for being here today, and I think there'll be a timer or showing up here. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Allow me to introduce 5 minutes of what our senior program is about. I've worked as a senior manager for almost 30 years. I spent part of my life not just collecting a paycheck, but helping the elderly from my community and our surrounding areas. When COVID hit, things changed and we couldn't gather as we used to. Sadly, out of our 47 registered members, we have 9 surviving members only. We were able to provide curbside meals to new members. We serve 2 meals on Monday and 3 meals on Wednesday. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have our bingo group. As far as opening the center for in-house meals, I'm in agreement, only that this will result in our client numbers declining. Now, would you rather serve 190 to 200 seniors over 3,000 meals a month, or open with 10, 15 at the most? Now, keep in mind that our elderly between 60 and 70 are still employed. They are still working. And curbside makes ends meet for them. Our bingo group numbers varies from 25 to 30, of which 20 are qualifying elderly clients. I know that this part-time demotion is not due to my job performance. It's not due to a funding cut. But misinforming you, the commissioners, this is a big disappointment to me. So close to retirement, and I feel I'm being pushed out. Throughout the years I have been with the senior program, I have been blessed to be in a profession that allows me to be compassionate, understanding, and helping to our senior citizens. I'm not praising myself in any way, but every year, months, weeks, and days that have gone by, I've learned something new to benefit our senior needs. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much for that. Next up, I believe it's right now we have Yvette S. Muñiz? Yes. Thank you for being here.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, councilmen and women. I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak at this moment. So let me begin by just simply stating, since I can remember, my grandfather, who was a very humbled man, always said that Los Fresnos was a city that valued generosity, compassion, altruism, loyalty, and most importantly, integrity. He believed it was our responsibility as citizens to uphold these values, and it was expected from those in positions of authority to demonstrate them daily. Having said that, Lupita Garcia has always been proud of her work and prioritizes other people's needs before her own. Since she has been serving this community for almost 30 years, when asked, why do you continue doing this? She simply states, because our senior citizens matter and they must not be forgotten. She shows a strong commitment to her work and always strives to improve herself and, most importantly, uphold herself with integrity, as my grandfather taught us. Her job is something she loves to do, and her passion for work is limitless. Aren't these the characteristics we want our employees to possess? Therefore, I urge you to think carefully and act honestly before making a choice that could impact a hardworking and faithful employee. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. At this time, I want to call up Manuel Abrego. If you'd like to come up, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm here because I'm very much concerned about the senior citizen program. It's been around for about 35 years. I know I was there when we got started, when we got the grant and built that community building. And it's a great building. It's been good. It's been good for Los Fresnos, and Los Fresnos has been good to the program. I know that this funding cut was no one's choice, but COVID funding that was cut, I understand. All I'm saying is, and I kept looking at the budget for the whole weekend and trying to see how we could, and that's not my job. Maybe Pablo or Mark or you guys, there's a lot of numbers, and when you have one eye, it just makes it worse. But I'm just hoping that this program continues, and you're hurting the person that runs it, by cutting her hours. If there's a sacrifice, make the sacrifice, and let's see what we can do to do better. The whole Los Fresnos departments are doing great. All the public works, police department, everybody's doing a great job. This is the only department that, and to nobody's fault, it was the government that cut the program. And I feel that just bite the bullet and let's see where we can come. One of the things that I thought about last night was maybe we had the fire department when I was in the council. We put donations in their water bill, and people would donate, and the money would go to the fire department. I don't know if we can do that. I think they cut it off because I still pay my water bill, and I don't have the volunteer money taken out anymore. But maybe that, or I think one of you mentioned possibly maybe filling one of those employees that you have plans. Maybe hold off on that and continue funding this program until we get funding from other sources. I know I talked today to Mr. Desi Martinez, and it was an eye-opener to him when he found out that more than half are outside the city, and it's something that he said he would try to talk to somebody and see if they could help us finance. But there's like I said, 6.2 million. It's a big budget and it's a lot of numbers. And by cutting something, you're going to hurt the program. I understand that. But that's why we got two guys here that I think that can hopefully make it happen and good for Los Fresnos. We feel that I take a special interest in that my mother was a charter member of that. My sister, my older brother, and they're all gone. They passed away. And COVID was it was really bad. I had two family members, siblings that died within 4 days. But we need to move on. We need to continue. We need to work together. Los Fresnos is booming. I'm excited for things that are happening in Los Fresnos. It's growing. It seems like everywhere I look, there's construction going on. So if we need to address it differently, well, let's do it. But let's sacrifice and see what we can do. 25 hours really hurts that individual. A little bit more, maybe, I don't know if some programs was, if you go 32 hours, you could, I know where I used to work, 32 hours you could get benefits. But I ask that you consider looking at the budget and have our administration here do what's best for our senior citizens. I thank you for your time, and you guys have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, we have a presentation of a certificate of achievement for excellence for financial reporting. Mark, I want to give you this time to talk a little bit about that.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members and audience. Most of the time, we don't ever get thanks in anything we do, but this is one of those times that is very deserved thanks for from the council all the way down to anybody that works in the city, because this deals with our finances, deals with transparency. You read in the paper so many places, school districts, cities that struggle because they're not transparent. We are transparent, and this is the 16th year that we have gotten this Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. So I wanted to say that. Of course, we recognize Pablo Garza as our finance director and his staff. They continue to work the budget, continue to work the numbers, pay the bills, and do all those things. But we couldn't do it without department heads and those people in each department doing their part, because when you look at the whole budget, it includes purchase orders, it includes payments, it includes getting 3 quotes and just all kinds of things. And then it goes to you folks as you look at the budget each year, and we talk about the budget and where to put monies in different areas. And then each month you get a budget report and see those numbers. So it doesn't take one, it takes all, but of course he's the leader of it. So congratulations to everybody and the city for 16 years of transparency. We love it.
Pablo, congratulations. I know every time I see you, you're working hard in that office. You got your team. Everybody is coming together to make this happen. So let's give you a round of applause. So yeah, every time I come by, Pablo, I see you in there. You're working hard. You got a staff. You got everybody really working hard. It shows in the 4 years that I've been the mayor, the work that you've done. And people don't understand the importance of having this type of award. There can be a major problem like there was a very long time ago with reporting. And you have basically come out and with the team and everybody, and we've shown that, everything that you're doing it right. And this is just a small token of appreciation that's going to be awarded to you and the entire team. But again, the hard work and efforts that you and your team put together are the reason why I am proud to be the mayor of Los Fresnos, and we're all proud here to stand alongside each and every one of you. So thank you again for the hard work and effort. Also, would you like to share any thoughts on this great award that has been recognized today?
Just want to congratulate your team for all the great job that you guys have done for all these years. And I know your team can do miracles now. So thank you for all your time and all your effort.
Again, thank you, Paulo. Thank you for everything. And it's like Mark says, it's a team. Sometimes you can't do it by yourself. You need people to help you out, and with people that have been backing you up, been doing a good job. And thank you for being there for us too. Thank you.
Good evening, Pablo and finance team. I just want to congratulate for all these years of achievement. Keep up the good work, and thank you for everything that you guys do.
Well, we do want to take this time to formally present this to you. If we can just quickly take a moment and take a quick snapshot here with the council right in the front. And we'll be holding this award. So if you want to come up here really quick, thank you. Right, time to move on from that. We have 7 consent agenda items on the list. If there's any that the council would like to pull, now is the time.
Public hearing.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, it's a new format, so it's kind of hard to read. So, yeah, at this time, we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing at 6:16. And this is public hearing for citizens of Los Fresnos to review performance and obtain comments regarding the 2021 Texas CDBG Program Community Development Contract, CDV 21-0095. The hearing is now open.
Mr. Mayor, since there's some people in the audience, I'll tell where it is and what was done. It's the alley between Nogales and the railroad tracks, between Canal and First Street. So that's one section. Alley between Nogales Street and Olmo Street, which is also, and then also between 8th and 9th Street, that alley. And then 2nd Street between Arroyo and Alamo Street, and the alley between 5th Street and Ocean Boulevard. And then Como Street and Retama, which is right here as you go. What they did is replace the sewer lines and the manholes. All of those were at the original town site from late 50s, early 60s in that time frame. So very much needed replaced, and it will help on reducing the infiltration that we get during rainstorms and help our sewer system altogether. So that was the grant that was for that project.
Are we going to have Mr. Reagan say some words, or
If
anybody
you
would like to come up?
to.
If anybody has any questions for the public, they're answered.
Okay.
We, it's a continuing process of upgrading.
Rick, you got it.
I don't hear. This is a continuing process through the CDBG of upgrading the sewer system, removing some of the old clay lines and putting new PVC stuff in and new, updating the services. And I think there was maybe a little bit of a water line put in also in this one. So everybody from the public has any questions or anything like that, this is a new process. Public hearing is a new process required by the TDA of all projects after they're finished.
Mr. Riggins, I know you mentioned, sorry, sir. I know you mentioned the water lines, right? Obviously, that was an inconvenience for everybody that got affected during that time period. I know we're working with a lot of old blueprints as well, as we're finding pipes a few feet off from where they were marked. So it's understandable. I guess it's not a concern, it's just a question of, as we're doing all of those improvements and replacing the manholes to a new elevated or dropping them down also is what I'm understanding as well. Some of these manholes are getting moved down to meet the new requirement of the level of the street. Are we having any effects on the sewers that we are pumping out for our community to the wastewater plant?
I apologize.
Sorry, I usually speak lower too.
My charger for my hearing aid.
No worries, Mr. Riggins. I guess I can direct that to Mark.
I can respond. No, they're not being moved up or down necessarily unless they were out of alignment for some reason. So it doesn't affect, it just improves our system. Most of those old manholes were built with brick, and a lot of the brick's not even there anymore. So new fiberglass manholes are good, and replacing the clay lines is good. So it's all good.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you, Mr. Riggins.
Thank y'all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reagan. So at this time, it's 6:21. We'll go ahead and end the public hearing, and we'll move to the consent agenda items. Like I mentioned earlier, we have 7 consent agenda items, and if there's any that the council would like to pull, now is the time. If not, if there's a motion to be made.
I'll go ahead and pull consent item number 3.
Okay, with that said, is there any others that would like to be pulled? If not, there's a motion for all of them except for number 3.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda, accept action number 3.
Okay, motion is made.
I'll second that.
And motion seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. And all those who oppose, do the same. Motion carries. At this time, consent agenda item number 3 reads consideration and action to approve the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Los Fresnos, Cameron County, Texas, amending Chapter 48, zoning Article 2, District Regulations, District 7, additional standards, subdivisions, number 4, signs, Section 48-275, signs permitted by Zone E, off-premises billboards, regulations, and repealing all ordinances and parts of the ordinance in conflict thereof. Councilman, if there's a question, now's the time.
Yes, Councilman and woman, Ms. Fernandez, the reason I'm pulling out this consent item is for the ordinance of the zoning and signs. I know last month we had a discussion. The discussion really wasn't to my standards, and I know I'm just one of six people here, right? I know I did hear that, you know, people are complaining about a digital sign, but I've never seen anybody come to City Hall, right? So as when people say, I've heard, or I think it doesn't look good for the city, for me, that's just hearsay, and that's an opinion. So I would like to be able to make decisions on this council with some concrete facts, not just hearsay or opinions, right? And have a discussion on that matter. Do we know how much money is the city going to lose on possible sales and sales taxes that we can make? I haven't heard anything about that. Do we have a petition of people, a list of the people who have voiced their concerns? And if so, do 10, do 12, do 30 people dictate a community of 8,000, right? I think I'm all for opportunity. That is why I'm here as a city councilman. I'm here to give opportunity to the people of Los Fresnos, not take it away. And by passing that sign ordinance, you're taking opportunity from people. Now, if we have to take opportunity away from people, I have no problem with that. But it has to be as a very legit reason, not just because I've heard or I think, right? That's very, very difficult slope to start going on. So up to this day, I have not seen a petition of 1,000, 1,500 to make sure a concise decision for us to be able to take opportunity away from people. I have not heard anybody come to city council to discuss their concerns, right? Up to the point where we will be taking opportunity away from XYZ family member. So I don't know if you all have. Do you have a petition? Do you know how much money the city would be losing? Have you even thought about that? So that is my first question to you all.
Councilmember, I believe we've all been voted, regardless of how you feel about it, yes or no. We've all been voted by the people to make decisions, and you have a strong opinion, and we respect that. But we all also have strong opinions, and regardless of what you call facts, which I disagree with that, but everybody has a different concern, and unfortunately, that's what was voted on. And you have the right to express your concerns, but to tell us that we need to have stuff proved by people to prove that we are right or wrong. I mean, people talk to us. It doesn't necessarily mean we have to come with a list of people to you and say, hey, look, these people told me. Again, you're entitled to your opinion. Everybody here is, and we're voting based on what we feel like is best.
And I agree, Mayor, but like I mentioned last time on the last meeting, when anybody comes to me with a problem with city, something about city, I direct them straight to city council. I tell them there's 5 minutes of open record that they can speak to. If there is a concern that they have, this is a perfect place and the perfect setting to set it up, right? So that is why we have this form of government in our city. And it's not because we can or should, but yes, some facts would be knowledgeable. Like I mentioned, how much money are we gonna lose? Do you know the answer, Mayor?
Again, it's not about the money, it's more about the keeping Los Fresnos. And a lot of people believe that those billboards will only protrude and change the image and look of Los
Which
Fresnos.
people?
Okay, so I have to give you a list of names. I don't have to give you a list of names. I already voted, you voted, and it is what it is. So unfortunately, you need to express your opinion and we move on, because at the end of the day, if you want to call anything, we will vote for it. And depending on how people vote, that's the way it's going to go.
Okay, so the last meeting I also heard, we don't want to be like Bronzeville, whatever that means, right? Well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't want to be like Bronzeville. I love Los Fresnos. I love the community we've created, and I've been a part of from the first day my dad took me out into these fields. So why the heck are we building small little lots where people can't even take their family to their backyards? I see that as more of a Bronzeville than a billboard sign. Why aren't we making developers put half-an-acre lots so that they can have a room for their family to grow and run? That's a Los Fresnos thing. But the subdivision they see building, I see that more as a Bronzeville thing than a dang sign.
Well, first and foremost, people who build a subdivision.
I'm not going to intrude in your discussion, but the topic is the sign ordinance, and when you move off and start to talk about subdivisions, that's not on the agenda, and there's no notice on that. So,
Well,
I'm not saying anything about your.
No, I agree, Council. The only issue is that it was brought up of not being like Bronzeville, so that is why the sign was being made.
I don't have a problem with any of that. I'm just saying that when you start to talk about subdivisions, then that's not on the agenda, and we haven't given notice of that.
Yes, but
Stay away from subdivisions, stay inside.
I agree, but the description was made as signs make us look like Bronzeville, so I'm just bringing in the same comparison of.
I didn't say you started it. I'm just saying, let's just stay away from that, please. So we don't have a problem with open meetings.
Thank you very much with that. And go ahead, Council, you can continue.
Well, like I mentioned, we have no record on how much these signs are going to cost the city. We don't even have records of anybody wanting to put up a sign. So for me to bring an ordinance up like this, it feels like either A, we're jumping the gun to try to avoid something, which is probably what's happening, or B, the hesitance and the fear of it outweighs more the ability of giving a family an opportunity. Like I said, we are up here to give the people of Los Fresnos opportunity. I have no problem taking opportunity away from people, but if we're gonna take opportunity away from people, it better be done right. And it better be done with a purpose, and it better be done with backing of information that I can now go down to XYZ person and say, this is why it was voted on. If I would have that information, I would be voting on it.
Can I ask you a question? Is there a particular person that you're talking?
None
Because
whatsoever.
You are talking about this one, putting one billboard that it's gonna be from one person.
None, because I'm not
Is there
actually,
a personal matter because you're bringing this?
there is
event, or-
no personal matter, ma'am. I'll repeat what I said. It's the opportunity of it's about taking opportunity away from people. So it may be a billboard today, it could be something else tomorrow. That is where I have no understanding on who wants to build billboards or where they want to put them. I could care less about that, honestly. But like I mentioned, to do it without having some facts, and one of those for me would be, how much money is the city gonna lose, right? But in terms of your question, ma'am, none at all.
As of right now, I feel, as we discussed it in the previous meeting, is that we have currently one billboard, that it's quite big of the size that everybody can benefit from. We did move it from position, and we approved, and I think that you were the ones that approved that. As of right now, currently, personally, I feel that we're okay with that. That's why I pass it over. Don't feel that it's a huge city that we need to have 4 or 5. So if the city keeps, this is my personal opinion, if the city keeps growing and we need to, and it's a necessity for the community, for the business, because this is more as a business, I feel that it will be brought up to the council to make a decision and rethink about that decision. But to me personally, right now, I don't feel that it's a necessity.
And I can agree with you on that, ma'am. So there is really no need for an ordinance to stop it either, right? It can be done on a sign-by-sign basis, location, distance. Do we need it? Do we not need it? But when you do an outright ordinance, it stops everything, or the way it's written. You may be incorrect, Mark, or you may correct me. It stops all futures of those signs in the city limits.
Can I speak?
Yes, sir.
You're saying that the ordinance will stop the new billboard. The ordinance that we had in place, it was by planning and zoning had denied it because we were going by our books. But when it came to voting, you brought it up to change that ordinance and allow that one sign to be put up. So yes, it can be changed. And the ordinance are just made so that we can have some standards for the city. So like you said, this last sign was not supposed to be up because planning and zoning had denied it, but you went ahead and voted for it.
I think it was 3 people that voted for it.
It was, that's what I'm saying.
I was one of the 3.
You were the one that initiated the motion. And my thing was, the sign was denied by planning and zoning, and they brought it to the city commission. And at that time, it wasn't a full commission, but we had a quorum. You brought it up, and it got approved. So by saying that because we made an ordinance, it's not going to be, it's going to be denied automatically, they can come into the city council at that time and bring it, and we will vote on it again, and it will be either authorized or not authorized by us. So I think this discussion is just useless right now.
And I wasn't here that day, and maybe things would have gone a different direction if I was able to vote.
So why the need of having to block people's opportunities from making money? Like I mentioned,
We're not blocking it. We're not blocking it.
So
We're
then
just
there's
making an ordinance, like we make an ordinance for the speed limits, the ordinance for the way you do your
So
anything.
do you know, Councilman, how much money, if the ordinance doesn't
We
get
don't need to know that.
evaluated?
That's part of the city manager's job.
I would like to know that because
The city council acts on that day when you bring it to our
So
attention.
before I make a decision on that ordinance, I would like to know how much we're gonna lose if we do.
I'm okay with that, but I'm saying you're making it a big deal about it when an ordinance can be changed. Pretty simple. If a business wants to come and build a sign here in Los Fresnos, they can bring it up to the city council at that time, and then we'll all make a decision whether it's approved or not. An ordinance is not gonna stop it.
So Mark, so how is this ordinance, can you, specifically, I know last month we had that first reading, this is the second reading, so there is a third reading that still needs to happen before state law?
No, sir, this is the final reading.
The ordinance and specifically on its own, without having information of people who feel like they're against it, right? Or without having any data on money that the city could lose, the ordinance itself is doing what? Can you clarify? I know I have it here in black and white, but can you explain it so that I can understand it? Maybe I'm understanding a little bit differently.
Sure. I think about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, this council said they wanted to look at billboards. And so we came up with a plan that would allow as many as 4. And so the first one came in and it didn't meet it, but didn't meet the standards. Planning and zoning denied it, this council approved it. And so it's fine, it's up and it's operational. Since then, all of those things that you said are comments from people or I've heard. I can't tell you the numbers, I don't keep a tally. And I assume that the rest of the council has heard that as well and asked that we don't just blanket allow it and so take, because if it's in the right place, it would never come to you. So what what Albert's saying is true. It would never come back. It would just appear one day. And so if you want control on that and was it truly the right place, well, then people would have the option to appeal that it's not allowed, and then you could make the decision on that particular place, on that particular location. So, and then the loss of sales tax, you know, we've never had that, and we've never allowed billboards before, so, you know, that's kind of difficult to say whether you lose it or not, because we've never had them. So it's not like you lose it.
Now, I know the ordinance that was passed on the one sign that had gone approved that came over that the council did consent to. It was made, and I guess my only understanding at that point, because I know zoning had, you're right, Councilman, zoning had denied it, was a few feet one way or another. You know, but at the end of the day, I'm also looked at what TxDOT, you know, would approve, and TxDOT had no problem on the signs. So we're not only are we our own jurisdiction here, but we also follow on top of the state of Texas, or under the state of Texas. So for me, I didn't see it as a problem if TxDOT has no problem with it. And we're talking about 5 feet or 15 feet one way or another, and an ability for a person to be able to get some form of recourse, a little bit of money. It ain't my money, it ain't coming to me. I don't know who owns that property, nor could I care less at that point. But like I mentioned, we would now be taking opportunities away from an individual from this town. And I don't feel comfortable putting down an ordinance to limit or take away opportunities. I am all for making opportunities. That is why I ran. That is why I will continue to run and stand strong. But I am not here as a councilman on my second term to take opportunities away.
I make a motion that we approve the second reading of an ordinance for the City of Los Fresnos, Cameron County, Texas, amending Chapter 48 zoning, Article 2, District Regulations, Division 7, Additional Standards, Subdivision 5, 4, Signs, Section 48, 275 signs permitted by the Zone E, off-premise billboard regulations, and repealing all ordinance and parts of ordinance in conflicting therewith.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. And all those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Okay, moving on to action item number 1. Consideration and action to reconsider the actions taken on LRGBDC area aging contract and budget amendment for the senior citizen program. On this one, Mark, this is the one where they had told us that they were going to give us X amount of dollars. We already had budgeted that in, and then they changed it to us from $102,000 to $40,000. And now we have to consider whether to fund the program in its entirety, what it was prior, or go with the new rules. Is that correct, Mark?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Now, one of the other questions I have, senior citizen program, I think the most important thing that we have to consider is our senior citizen community. Can you stand here and tell me that we are going to have less of a program than we've had before?
The program as I presented last meeting would be the same as what it is today.
Will there be any seniors that will not be able to get any kind of food or benefits from this program by reducing it from where it was until where it's going?
No.
So no changes to the senior citizen program? And now at this time, with that said, is there any questions or comments that the board would like to make in regards to the senior citizen program with Mark saying what he said?
Yes, I would like to say a few words on that. You know, I've been here for many years, and some of you, you know, like you guys, some of me have lived here in the Friends for a while, but during the years, I know that you guys have met some good people and citizens and Los Fresnos. And I have a problem with allowing to remove the senior citizens program to have. All my family was raised here in Los Fresnos, and we all been here all together and working around. And this is a very good program that the city has. And it's the only program that we have that pertains to the senior citizens. And for us to just allow it to go away, I don't feel good about it, and I hope that many of you guys understand that you have family members, you have a lot of friends, and they go in and go out to senior citizens, go eat a plate or two. You know, maybe some people don't do it because they don't need to, but this is something for people that need it, and I'm against it, to go to the one that we used to approve was Section 2, but I hope you guys understand that the issue is not the foundation that was brought to us. It's not the money. It's something else. So I really hope that we reconsider on this kind of action. So this is what I have to say today. So I really thank each and every one of you for that.
I have a question, Mark. We discussed that we would have to, because we're brand new in the budget, it was going to be hard to find money right now, or we would have to cut other programs or whatever we had to do to get the funding. Now, going based on what I think I see, well, so we're growing, we're getting more taxes, more businesses are opening up here. So I'm thinking within the next, 6 months, it will be enough for us to come up with some sort of funding for that program. My question is, this program right now, it's funded, as you said, right now, the 25 hours, or 20 hours, 25, whatever, for the year? Is it considered funded under this proposal that you lowered for the whole year?
Yes, from January 1st on through September 30th was what the proposal was.
So if we have the funding for the whole year, and this is just me throwing out an idea, is can we fund this program for 6 months? Fully funded, going back to the regular hours and stuff like that for the next 6 months, to give us some data, give us some opportunity to find the money to fund the other 6 months. Will that be something that we might be able to do? I don't know if Pablo can chime in here, of moving those funds maybe to the 6 months and have a way for us to come up in 6 months with funding instead of making a decision, on the spot.
For your question on the reason why my statement under option 1 was, it's the first, last month it was November, so it was not even the second full month. Now we've got 2 full months. And so you don't have enough of the budget yet to know where you can find that. And that was my statement. I also stated in the meeting last time is we always are able to find if that's what the council chooses, because we budget conservatively. We just got an award for transparency. One of the pieces that able for us to do that is we try to budget expenditures higher and income lower so that we come out in the end so much better, and we've been transparent about doing that, and it served us well. So do I feel like at the end of the year we'll be fine? Yes, I do. But I can't tell you, because most of the time when I bring you an issue, I say, here's the money needed and here's where we can move it from, because we have extra sales tax, or we have extra property tax, or we have extra permits, or whatever it may be. And this, I can't tell you that today. Does that answer your question?
Yes. So going back to the second question was, can we use the money from the 6 months to fund this project so that, you know, we have the full-time employee going back to the program, but now have established some data points where now you can come up to the city council and say, you know, in the first 3 months, you know, we had so many people attended the program. Can we also try to grow this program within those 6 months and collect data that you can present to us, you know, coming June?
I
before
think
we
if
fund
anything,
it?
Mark, and Councilman, I think that's a perfect example or an idea. My only question on that would be, come those 6 months, if we're gonna utilize what right now we have for a year budgeted out, and we, you know, we'll double it up, or I don't think it's doubling because it's 25 hours instead of 40, so there's still a little bit of money past those 6 months. Come those 6 months, a decision will have to be made, but which is fine. I mean, I have no
That's
understanding.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're trying to make a decision on
Still
one
no
person
information.
in right
Yeah.
now, when, if we do that and fund it for 6 months, now we have time to figure out what we're gonna have in the budget as far as money that we can go through. And it gives you time to tell us, you know, in June, hey, this is how we can fund the program and this is how we can grow it in 6 months. And at that point, bring it back to the city council and make a decision for us to vote on it at that point, to extend the funding for the rest of the year.
Now, my question, so we do these 40 hours, can we ask them to stand up or not? I just need a little bit of information on no.
Legal, can you
Okay.
consult on that? Or can you consult on that?
Yes, because the expanding, because I know I'm hearing on meals, right? But I also kind of want to know on outside, maybe Mark, you can answer this question. What else can we do to expand, like Mr. Escobedo said, some of these programs and these projects that we can have for our elderly? I know there's many more ways that we can assist our elderly here. Maybe we just need a new vision on how we can work on that.
I would be more comfortable with this item on the agenda is reconsider the action taken. I would be more comfortable if you do have questions or inquiries, come to Mr. Milam, ask him, look, we want to know this and want that, and then you can maybe announce the next meeting what you're going to do. I would be more comfortable with that because we're kind of
Understandable.
reconsider.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah, I think that I disagree with you because I think that this item is on the agenda today. And like Mrs. Escobedo says, we can make a decision, which we're here, that's what the reason we're here for. I think that if most of the council approves what Mrs. Escobedo says, and which is, I think it's a good idea, that we fund it for the 6 months, and then you bring it up to us to see the real reason why this program wants to be dissolved. And from there, we'll make a
So the
decision.
program's not gonna be dissolved
Yeah.
at all. There's nothing, he just clarified that the senior citizens will not be affected in any way. So what you're saying is like a fear mongering. You're fear mongering people to say that because this has been cut, that people are gonna suffer, and that's a false statement. But what Albert is suggesting that is instead of us paying $38,000, which eventually we're gonna run into another issue where we're not gonna be able to fund something, so this may be taken care of, but something else is gonna break. And so by him recommending for us to do it half, that just means that we're spending $19,000 versus $38,000. And maybe in the next 6 months, when that issue does come up, we'll still have some extra money, and it'll give us some time to understand where we can find some more funding.
You are correct, Mayor, you are correct, but like just I mentioned before, we kind of need to also tread very lightly with this because if we do spend it up front, we, at least for the personnel situation, we don't have it written in funding for the next 6 months, if I'm not mistaken on
The
that.
problem here, council member, is that we already had a budget, and he'd already had worked on it, and he's willing to make some adjustments, but if this would have come up a long time ago, we wouldn't be sitting here with this issue, and that's what's making it difficult.
Well, I mean, and that I think even last meeting, we all kind of understood that when that decision was made. It was not an easy decision for all of us. I
And all
know
I'm
that.
saying, I don't want to see a problem down the line that we're going to be struggling because we took care of one, but then there's going to cause another, which can be more catastrophic. And all I'm saying is that his idea meets us in the middle, gives us some time to come up with some ideas, and it'll at least put a Band-Aid on it. You know what I mean? And it'll definitely give that department the continued income that they're getting for the next 6 months.
I don't know if this is a lot for you to give us an answer for or something. If we table it, then it comes January 1st, which already comes into the
Is
next.
there a motion to be made?
I mean, the thing is, we're still in discussion, Mayor. I mean, it doesn't need to go
You
that
can still
way.
discuss anything you want. I'm just asking if
I'm
there's a
just-
motion to be made.
Based on the way it's worded, to reconsider the auction, I'm just going, can we reconsider, can I make a motion to reconsider the program, but based on the 6-month funding for the full time, of the 6 months, and then for us to reconsider this 6 months in June?
And for me, sorry, there.
Legally.
Council- Yeah, if anything, the only reason why I would like to table it, and maybe if we have to do an emergency session just because I think the wording has to be finite between council and the city manager, that to do it like right now, like this, it may be too quick. I just want to make sure that
Mark,
everything's
what's your
written out right.
recommendation on that, Mark? Could he make a motion like that?
Sure, and I'm pretty clear on what you're saying, so I don't think there's any.
I'm just saying because
So he's
this will
clear
go
with
into effect January 1st. So that will pass us that time, and we would have to, at that time, make an emergency meeting or stuff. So if we do it today, then the program starting January 1st becomes the same way it is right now.
And then June 30th, you're asking me
I'm asking you
to
to,
provide you, not June 30th, but.
in the month of June,
To provide you with detailed information.
exactly.
On the program, and then we'll move from there.
And then, yeah.
And
then we
then
move.
so that you base it on.
And at that point, then we all have plenty of time to ask the questions, to, look for ways to get the funding.
Because right now, we're doing it on a whim with a budget that's already set to start in a few weeks. So, Councilman, are you making a motion?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to reconsider based on funding for the next 6 months by moving those 6 months from the rest of the year and fund the program complete as it is right now for 6 months, with the stipulation that we get in June, the city council gets approached for an extension of the program for the rest of the year. And at that point, I would like to see more data on how many people we were using, how have we been able to grow this program? Because
And the type of programs we're also
Yes.
doing
And
within
the
that.
trends. And I
And the
want to see the
trends.
trends over the
Trends and
last
stuff
couple of
like that.
years to see exactly where we were.
We
where
just
are
want more
now.
information in that, and we can.
Okay, so motion made. Is there a second?
I'll second that
Motion
memo.
made and seconded. All
I
those in
second that
favor?
motion.
Motion made by Escobedo, seconded by Gabby. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
And all those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Program continues for 6 months. Thank you very much. Moving on to action item number 2, consideration and action to approve funding for engineering work on the Whipple Road improvements. Mark?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, as you know, Whipple Road has been on the docket and it continues to remain on the docket. They have done a preliminary engineering report, but need to go from there to final engineering and then the plans and specs for that. To do that, we work that through Cameron County Regional Mobility Authority and through TxDOT. That engineering cost is $892,217.96, of which $400,000 CCMRA has agreed that they would fund that through their funding source, leaving $492,217.96 for us to fund. My recommendation, that comes from the TERS 1 fund. It has money in there which was designed for Whipple Road. It's a partnership between us and county. If you'll notice think on the city limits, about 2/3 of the Whipple Road there is in the city limits, about 1/3 is in the county, so that's about the even split of the dollars that are coming into that TERS 1, and so it's a win-win for county, win-win for us, and of course, if you've driven that road, you know it's desperately needed.
Man, Mark, that is a project that, one of the reasons I ran was to fix Whipple Road. I used to live in Valle Alto, and I remember me and my son would go for a bike ride, and we had to kind of move into the grass because it was dangerous. Those cars sometimes whiz right by there. So just the idea that Whipple Road could get some improvements is something that is much needed. I know there's a lot of obstacles along the way when you get closer to those apartments. I don't see how they can expand anything in that area. There's not a lot of room there, but I'm pretty sure the engineers would do a good job. And again, anything that works towards infrastructure is good for us, and we're looking forward to this plan moving forward. Any questions or comments from the board here? Anybody like to mention anything, or is there a motion to be made?
I'll make a motion to approve the funding for engineering work on the Whipple Road improvements.
Okay, motion made.
I'll second.
Motion is seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. All right, consideration and action on the selection of a mayor pro tem for a 1-year term. Now, I will say that there's times when I cannot attend any event, and this position would require somebody to just kind of go. And I'll be honest with you, I've seen Gabby do a great job. I've seen Escobedo do a good job. And I know that there's times where, like I said, I can't make it somewhere. And, I usually call these two, and they're there like that. They're there quick. And so they're on the floats. Every single time we have a parade, we're in the front taking the pictures, right? And we're also behind the scenes. But we're also, going to the different events that are held by the city. And, I want to make an action there because I think this is important, is moving back to Gabby. And that's only because of the participation that I've seen, very consistent on these two.
I'll second that motion. A lot of us are very busy, very difficult to make them separate ourselves from our job. So I would gladly pass that off to another council member that I can't say she's not busy. She owns her own business too, so I know that keeps her going quite a bit. But I know for myself, I'm very hard to make myself available.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Raise your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Consideration and action to appoint a member to the Los Fresnos Housing Authority. And it looks like we have an application here for Claudia Lizette Rocha, who has gladly thrown her name in the hat. So is there any questions from the board, or if anybody wants to make a motion? Been trying to fill this, by the way, here for about a month or two.
I'm going to make the motion, Mayor, to go ahead and pass this action item before she changes her mind. I'll go ahead and make the motion, sir.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. At this time, we'll be discussing acknowledgement of the city manager's reports. Mark, is there any updates on any of the projects that you have?
The street repairs, 7th Street is in progress. When it's done, that contract will be over. We'll be waiting for the next CDBG grant that will do 1, 2, 3, 4, about 7 blocks of streets. Also, I told you of some funding I'm looking at for other streets, primarily on the north and west quadrant. That we've kind of done all the others because they were in worse shape. Now the worst are basically Canal, First, Alamo, North Alamo, in that area. So we will be coming to you with that. The rest, I think, is really not a lot of change unless you have a question.
Mark, any updates for the board to know about with the recent rains? We did get 6 inches of rain, and just want to get a report from you in regards to drainage, since it's a topic. Some of these new improvements that we've been doing, how have those held up? Have those held up pretty good?
Yes, the east side did better. When I say east side, east up against the drainage ditch. Did we have some backups? Yes, we did. But they didn't get any vehicles that I'm aware of. And it drained very, very quickly. I was out there, Public Works was out there, PD was out there. Our normal, by the library, Nogales Street, just because of the underground direction it takes, it's the lowest, slowest. Valle Alto up against the irrigation canal was problematic, but that is part of the $1.6 million funding that we have, and the engineers are working on that. So that was a good thing for them to see and visualize as part of their final looks to on the recommendation, which includes cleaning ditches, a much larger detention area in there. Anytime you move water underneath the irrigation canal is tough, so that's what they're going to accomplish with that. The other Baja, we kind of forget about Baja Circle because was Brownsville, now it's ours. I went there and it was totally drivable, but it did have a little bit of water. Needs to be some work done behind that, which is...
There's the irrigation canal there though too, right? And then the drainage, irrigation drainage next to 803
And there's a detention area.
into Cactus Road and not California Road and all that. Is that where that old drainage canal we've been talking about a few times?
Correct. The best fix is for the drainage district to reroute that. Not sure when we can get that done, but didn't cause any problems, movement of people or vehicles. So I do want to say, people call and say the street's flooded. We're flat. When you're flat, you use streets to drain your water mostly. We do it, everybody in the valley does it. When you get up in other parts of the country where it's flat, they do the same thing. So you will have some buildup, and we've got to know that that's going to happen. What we don't want is to get in houses and vehicles. So we're very pleased that we got a lot of water in a very, very short period of time.
No, I do want to appreciate, I know the efforts we've made over the last four or so years, especially clearing out that drainage canal going out towards the main channel.
Yes.
I know a few years back, my house got almost completely flooded into. 10th Street had an issue, and 9th Street But that main backup really, I noticed it because 3 inches in 3 hours is a lot of water to move through. We really didn't notice it like it would have been prominent in years past.
The other thing, I'm not ready to give statistics yet, but I am a statistics guy, so you want data, I'll give you data. I'm working on one for drainage. I think in 4 square miles, 1 inch in an hour is like 80 million gallons. So 3 hours, that's like 240 million gallons. Think about that. That's over our city and it's got to go somewhere. Pretty impressive that we don't flood in all the time, so.
And I drove around right after, and the road, everything was already down, so I'm proud to say that Los Fresnos doesn't have any major issues. Obviously, there's always room for opportunity, but, you know, overall, we're doing really well, and I thank you and all the public works and city people who make that happen every day. Thank you very much. Is there anybody who would like to ask any more questions or acknowledge the department head reports?
I have a question on the veterans, more veterans. Do we need those palm trees there, Mark? In front of the veterans?
They're part of the project.
Oh, because the way I see it, and maybe these people may see it wrong or I see it, but I've seen 803 and Highway 100 where blackbirds are starting to come over. And if we put down those palm trees there, they're right in front of the Veterans Memorial Day. And then I think that we're gonna have a lot of bird poops on top of everything there. But I mean, that's me. I don't know about the other city councils, what they decide, but.
Any estimated time on that project getting finalized? Any updates?
Whenever they finish, Mayor.
Okay.
The contractor is struggled, and so you make a choice, is either get somebody else, but then you end up paying a lot more money. So we stuck through it, and we're going to get a good product. It just takes a little bit of time.
I know last meeting we asked Mark, it's going on, I don't know, you tell me, this got done before I came in. Are we a year behind, a year and a half or 2 years or going on?
I'll look and send you, I can't remember. Not 2 years, I know that. It hasn't been.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that contract and when was the end date. But I know we've had a lot of questions on that, a lot of veterans here in Los Fresnos. So I'm just want to make sure, like you said, yes, if we hire somebody else, it can be more costly, but that this contractor understands that the city council has been asking for several months now on their production, and we're not very happy about it. But it is what it is.
Can we volunteer our time and go out there and help a little bit? Maybe on a Sunday or Saturday, go out there and do what we can? Because, man, I'm just dying to show it off to everybody. It's a beautiful place, and we want to acknowledge all our local veterans. But at this time, I'll go ahead and motion to acknowledge the city manager's reports.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye, raising your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. At this time, we'll move on to acknowledgement of department head reports. Is there any questions or is there a motion to be made?
I'll make a motion to approve the acknowledgements of department head reports.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye, raising your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. 7:10, meeting adjourned. Thank you and have a good evening.